The D'Amico Show starts now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the D'Amico Show. I'm Steve D'Amico. Today I'm joined with Steven Macek. He is the host of the AM radio show Through the Static, as well as the author of the best-selling novel, The Suicide Gift. He's known as Steven the Medium around here. Steven, welcome to the show.
I am so excited to be here with you guys.
We're also joined with my brother Anthony D'Amico and my dear friend Emily Smith. So you started off as a juvenile attorney. You did that for 20 years. You're representing troubled kids that were potentially going to juvie. You were like a public defender for them?
I wasn't doing the criminal side. I was doing the civil side.
Okay.
So kids that either didn't go to school, ran away from school, ran away from home, caused problems in school, all the non-sort of criminal things. It's certainly, unfortunately, it sometimes would lead to something criminal, but yes, that's how I represented the kids.
And how did you find that those experiences eventually led you down into a more spiritual path, or did that have any influence on it?
You know, Steve, that's a really good question, because I didn't know at all that I was a medium. I had absolutely no idea. I wasn't the medium who, as a little boy, I saw things or heard things. Had absolutely no clue. I just loved. Right out of law school, I went to. I applied to the state, because to be in juvenile court, you have to be lucky, and I think I was very lucky to actually get accepted into the certification program, and I started that. And once I started it, again, 20 years, it was so satisfying helping kids, and also helping the parents, because it's, if you're dealing with something with the kids, the dynamics are the whole family.
Right.
And I don't really think, Steve, that it was something that sort of led me down to the spirit world. I really don't. I think I was doing my thing as representing kids as an attorney, really.
Right. And it's just looking at where your career has gone from the time in the legal world, it seems almost like just polar opposites, like all these facts and rules and laws. And you never had any, like you were saying, you never had any supernatural experience as a kid.
No,
like Sixth Sense, I see court dates.
Well, did you were you an anxious kid, or did you feel anything out of the norm that might have led you in that direction?
Yeah, Anthony, that's a really good question too. Is that my dad took his life when I was 8 years old, and it was just me and my older brother. And that in my book, I just explain how my life has really been the pre-8 and the post-8. That up until 8 years old, I think I was just like this regular kid. And then after he did that, I became this anxiety-ridden child that was rebelling against everything. I just was filled with anger. And I think really that is why I didn't know I had this gift, because I think after that happened with my dad, I think everything was sort of squashed, because I was so angry. And I blamed myself. I thought, at 8 years old, I'm not really sure at 8 years old if I knew I was gay, but I knew I was different. So as the years went by, I would start just taking it on, thinking, what dad would leave his kids, right? What dad would leave his boys? It must be because my brother's straight, he's normal, and I hate that word, but I'm not. I'm gay, and I completely just, I think I inherited everything that was negative.
Have you heard the theory that a lot of gay people have this connection to spirit in high numbers, because the idea is like we embody more of a balance of the sacred masculine and sacred feminine, so there is more of a spiritual potential? Have you ever heard of that?
I didn't. I think it's more just about heaven is like really stylish people, and that's why us gays are really connected. Just saying, no, I didn't. That's really interesting. No, I never heard that.
When I got to the pearly gates, I was like, this needs to be dusted. I don't know what you guys are doing up here. Bronze, like, so outdated.
But Steven, 8 years old, did you have any guidance after the fact, like moving forward from that tragic event that happened to you?
Guidance from spirit, you mean?
Well, both. Was there anybody in your life that stepped in, or?
Or your mom? Like,
Yeah,
what's your
my mom
relationship?
was everything. My mom was my mom and my dad. She just did everything, and
Kind of like Bruce Jenner.
sort of. But you got to see my mom, way prettier. My mother was beautiful. She died in 2020.
Oh my
And
God. I'm so sorry for both
no,
of your
thank you.
losses.
That was a difficult one because all I ever had was her.
Right.
You know, when you lose a parent like that, and it wasn't like the parent died of an accident or a heart attack. You know that the parent actually chose to do this, even though I know mentally in where he was, there was obviously a reason for it. He wouldn't have. My mom used to say all the time that the best thing in his entire life was his 2 kids, his 2 boys. So I know how much he loved us, but I think my mom stepping up was one of the greatest things, and her family too. She has 3 sisters, and I have a cousin, Holly, who's really like my sister, because the sisters only had 3 kids, me, my brother, and my cousin, so we're really close.
So could you take us through what the path is from getting started with these spiritual connection, or how did it unravel to the point where you are today, where you have this undeniable connection that's opened up? Was there a class you went to? What things led to your exploration of this? Like, were you sitting in court one day? You're like, oh shit! Like, I can hear the judge's dad or something.
The judge's dog. No, I also love the question. So in 2010, Elix and I went to this medium here in Massachusetts, and it was a venue about 90 people or so, and we were sort of in the front row, and I really wanted to go because I wanted to connect with my dad, right? I was praying on the drive there, please Dad, come through. I need a sign, I need something. And the medium, who was a very reputable medium still, she started her gig, and she said she'll come up, whoever she's being drawn to, she will come up to the person, and she will ask your name, and then she'll say, stand up. So I'm sitting there, and I was first right out of the gate. She came up to me. She stood in front of me.
Wow.
Elix, my husband, is sitting right next to me, and she said, what is your name? And I said, Steven. And she's staring at me, and in my head, I'm thinking, didn't she say she's going to have me stand up, but she's not telling me or asking me to stand up? And then she said, you're a psychic and you don't know it. And then she turned around, and I'm not kidding, she never came back to me.
Oh my
She left me
God.
with, you're a psychic and you don't know it. And a couple of minutes later, Elix, who's sitting next to me, said, did you hear what she just said? And honestly, I do remember, and I know this sounds so cliche, but I did say to Elix, I think she's psycho because I'm not psychic. And I honestly thought she was talking about someone behind me, like maybe that energy behind me, because clearly I'm not connected to spirit. And then after that, the next day, I emailed her, and within minutes, she responded to me and said, I am so sorry. She was so sweet and said, I'm so sorry. I would have done that. I guess what she expected was at the end of the show, she'd come up to me and talk to me about what she said. And there was just so many people that bombarded her. And then I emailed her the next morning, and she invited me and Elix to her seminar that was coming up, but we were going to be in New York, so we couldn't go. And then over the next couple of years or so, it was sort of slow, but then weird things started happening. It was honestly like if you can envision like just ghosts or angels or loved ones all in this room, and now all of a sudden they know I know, and it's like the light switch went on, and then they're all like, well, he knows now, so let's start doing this. And that's sort of what I felt. I kept feeling like, not per se a touch, but I kept getting energy waves. And I know, Anthony, you asked me about anxiety earlier. I was just an anxiety ball. It was horrible. I did not know what was going on, and I didn't know what to do with it.
What an event to happen to you, though. Like, if you didn't go to that seminar and this woman didn't tell you that you had the ability to do this, who knows when you would have picked up on this, correct?
Anthony, I'm not even sure if I would have. I mean, I can do the what ifs, but I don't know. I would think that I was placed here for, like we all are, right, for a reason. and we have to find that reason. And I know that's why we went to that event, but you're right. I don't know.
Is there anything looking back now that you're like, oh my gosh, that was a spiritual moment that I wasn't aware of? Because I know you said it was kind of like the lights went on and like you were like, oh, aware of this gift, and probably the spirits were like, oh, now he's aware. We can, this is a safe space to enter. Like, are there things looking back that you're like, oh, that was a moment? Or
Emily, that's a really good question too. That there was, there were very, very little connections or things that I can even think back at. I do remember that one time we went down to Providence to take my mother out, and Elix was with me, and my mom was getting ready. So Elix says, I'm going to go outside in the car. So he went out first. Then I said, Ma, I'll meet you outside. So then I went out, and Elix didn't go into the car. He was sitting at the edge of the walkway. And as I walked out, there was this blue balloon that was just sitting there. It was like blown up, but just sitting there. And I said to Elix, where did that come from? And Elix said, I just walked by there. There was no balloon. So I thought nothing of it. And then my mother comes out and she's locking the door up as we're coming out. And she says the same thing to me. Where did that balloon come from? I said, I don't know. I said, but clearly it doesn't have helium in it because I just dropped it and it fell right to the ground. And then my mom says, which of course I didn't even remember, she said, you do know that today's Daddy's anniversary of death. It was August 25th. And I said, oh my God, I didn't remember that. I didn't know that. And I said, imagine if Daddy dropped that balloon there just as a sign. And I was just thinking, like, that's crazy, but I just said that. When I said it, now again, my mom was there as well as Elix. The balloon lifted from the ground and just came up like it was blown up with helium, and then just was left. And I grabbed it because if I didn't grab it, it would have kept going. And so we were all astonished by it. And then the three of us went into the bigger portion of the yard. And I said, Ma, if this is Daddy, this balloon's just going to keep going up because clearly there was no helium in it. And I let it go. And I hope I'm answering the question, Emily. That was one of those things I thought back and said, this was a spirit moment. The balloon went so far up that we never saw it again. Wow. It was just incredible.
So when you were mentioning the being a ball of anxiety, you felt anxious even when you started stepping into your mediumship. And do you think that's because the energies that were coming through you now, where you were being opened up as a portal to take on more energies and your body had to adjust to it? Did you have to meditate, change your diet? Did you have any lifestyle changes you had to implement to adjust to that new energy?
Steve, that's another great question. I didn't know what to do because I didn't know what it was. I'm still to this day, I don't understand how Elix, my husband, is still with me because what I put him through. I mean, there were times we were driving in the car that I would just say to him, pull over. He was like, pull over, why? I'm like, I just gotta jump out of this car. And he would be all nervous and be, what's going on with you? I said, I don't know. And I was crying. It was very, very difficult. And how this all sort of came together is Elix, being the great guy that he is, December of 2012, for a Christmas gift, he bought me a 16-week home study, how to become a certified medium. He sort of went online and sort of searched, and he's really, really connected too, very, very connected, and found sort of a feeling of this woman who offered these classes, like a good feeling. So he bought it for me, and I opened it up, and then everything opened up. I could not put the binder down. And when I finished the 16 weeks, and it's a home study, so I could go, on my own pace or at my own pace. And I remember at the end, it said that then you have to make an appointment with the head of this class or course, and sort of do a reading on the phone with her. And I thought, that's where I draw the line.
That's your final exam almost.
Anthony, it was. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm not doing that. I can't do that. But I did call her, and she said, I've never seen anyone go through this course this quick, because Elix had communicated with her. And then I did. She just said, all right, read me. And she was like in Arizona, and I was home, and it was just a regular phone call. It was before the whole Zoom and Skype kind of deal.
So even over the phone, this is something that could take place. You wouldn't have to be in the same room, right?
No, at that point, Anthony, I didn't know that.
Right.
But no, I think the first thing I started saying to her is like, there's a woman here. and it was her mom. Of course, I didn't know that. And I said, she keeps talking about this lamp. And she said to me, Steven, the lamp I'm sitting next to was my mother's lamp. It's one of the few things that I had from her. And then it just went on, and and then things just started again. It was a slow process. I think I did my first reading in like 2015. So from 2010, that's 5 years. But I started getting better at it and better at it. And you're absolutely right, Steve, that my body physically needed to catch up to the spiritual piece to it.
It almost sounds like it was going through some kind of purge, especially maybe all the trauma with your dad and your childhood and growing up gay and everything, the compartmentalization of the energies and traumas that comes with. It almost seems like you were releasing all that through the tears, and it was all just like ready to be removed from you, so you actually could be an open vessel.
Yes.
How do you do in public places? Do you feel overwhelmed, let's say at the mall or places with big crowds, and just like,
not any longer. When it first started, I always used to say to Elix and used to say to myself, I am never shutting this down. I'm not closing it. I hear mediums saying that, during the day they have to close it because they're just, there's so many spirits coming at them. And I knew this was my calling. And I thought, oh my God, if I close it down, what happens if it doesn't open up again? Mm-hmm. I will lose like what I feel like I'm here for. But yeah, it's Anthony, at this point, it's just sort of automatic, if you will. Like when we're out, if we're in the supermarket and we're, say, getting, I don't know, deli meat, I will look at the person who's cutting meat, and I will see behind her, seriously, like her son, her dad, her mother, and I will just start chatting and doing that. So I never really, I guess I can tell them to calm it down. It's like too much, but it's never a burden. It really isn't. It's definitely a blessing.
I was going to ask that. So you physically can see things in addition to hearing things.
Yeah, Emily, wow. It comes, every reading comes differently. Sometimes I don't even see it. I just know what to say, and I don't know how I know. Sometimes I will actually see somebody. A lot of times I'll just hear more of it. Sometimes, depending on the person I'm reading, depending on their energy, I may just pick up through them a lot too. And every single person is different. And I remember my first reading was, I blame it on spirit, but I backed out of the garage before the garage door was fully open, and there was a boom and a dent, and the garage door wouldn't close, right? So we had to get a guy to come to fix the garage door. And this guy, I am not kidding you, was like 6'6", and his arm was like the size of my head. He was huge. And I'm just waiting for him to finish. And he was a very nice guy. I had never said anything to anybody about me being a medium. And I remember I said, just call me when you're done, because I was upstairs. I'm Steven. So he knocks on the door and says, Steven, I'm all done. He said, let me just show you. So he puts the garage door up and down. And then as we're standing there, I don't know the actual terms, but the big metal bolt bar, whatever, that does the garage door, it's snapped. And I don't mean snapped, broke. It's like somebody like grabbed the metal bar, and it was like silly putty, and let it go and snapped, but stayed in place. I jumped. This 6'5" guy jumped, and he's looking at it. He turns red and says, I have never, in 20 years of doing this business, I have never seen this. I don't know what that was. He actually said, I don't know what the hell just happened. So I'm thinking it's broke again, right? So he plays with it. I don't know how many times. No issues. On, and it goes up and down, up and down. He's like, Steven, I don't know what to tell you. It's fine. I can't explain it. And so then he tells me how much it is. So I said, let me run upstairs and get a check. And as I was coming back down, I hear say the A name, say the A name. So I'm thinking to myself, pretty much in hindsight, like, you couldn't pick like a little 90-year-old woman for me to do my first reading that she probably wouldn't even hear me, and I could just like blow it off. You have to pick this huge guy that I have to say this to. And it was like, I say I have to because I felt like I did. Yeah. And I said to him, I said, I have a question. Sometimes I feel things. I said, are you really close to someone with a very, very strong A? And I wasn't even getting names at that point. I just had a letter, an A name. And he said, no. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask you that. He gives me my receipt. He's in the truck, in the driveway, getting ready to leave, and he's filling out his invoice. I went back up to the window and just knocked and said, I have to ask you again. I said, are you sure there's no one that's dead that was very, very close to you with the A name? And he said, well, my mom, but she's been gone for like 20 years and her name's Anita. And I said, she loves you. And he got very teary eyed. That was the first reading. That was it. And it was sort of opened the door to, I'm like, if I can read this guy that could probably pick me up and throw me, I can read anybody now. So that's how it worked.
So you got the A name first, you just got the letter, and then like some time went on. And did you think you needed that interaction with him first when he was like, I don't know an A name, to like get that next push to get?
I think so, Steve. I really do, because
it like unravels kind of.
It does. And I when I teach classes, I teach courses, and I always say this sort of business is just like an actor's business, is that you need thick skin. Because when you're starting out, even if you know you're connected and you start reading somebody and you could get somebody, nope, I don't know who that is. Nope. You just keep hearing those nopes. And then you leave thinking, maybe I'm not connected. Maybe I'm not really getting things. And it's hard sometimes.
But also I feel like sometimes people go into situations, even people that hire you, this could happen where someone just wants the experience of proving that psychics aren't real for themselves. So in a way, you're giving them exactly what they're asking for in a way, because they want that negative validation that it doesn't even exist. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask if like skeptics tend to be like more blocked from like spirit, like, or I don't know, maybe not, but if, it's harder to read people who are more skeptic. I don't know.
It really isn't. I mean, well, Emily, maybe to a little bit of a degree, but if somebody comes in and is completely 100% feeling like when we die, that's it, there's nothing else, like we're dead, spirit will still come through. They with that sort of stand, they will sort of, with their energy, they won't want to release their energy, but this person's loved ones in spirit, they don't care. They're going to come through and still give whatever they feel like this person needs. That's what it's all about. These readings are all about.
Yeah, and I feel like skepticism is just all rooted in fear, where they do not want to look beyond the parameters of the five senses, and they got enough to handle here just on their day-to-day life, and they want to know that this is all there is. And when you say, no, actually, this is like a minuscule sliver of reality, a lot of people kind of push that away. They don't want to accept that.
Yes, absolutely.
But I feel like there's more and more people waking up to this, and there's becoming more and more reinforcement and validation that this is a real phenomenon, and it's not even crazy or out there or even spiritual. It's just we've lived so many hundreds or thousands of years where we've been disconnected from it, or we view spirit through the lens of organized religion or other means that are kind of misguiding people in a way, for better or for worse. But I feel like we're getting to the point now where the earth is waking up, and it's kind of raising up the people that are ready for it, and even the people that aren't ready for it. Like, I think over the last maybe 5-10 years, every single day I have some kind of synchronicities that happen, whether it's like, you mention apricots or some random thing, and then I go home and turn the TV on. It's like, get your apricots down the street, like something dumb like that. And I've actually started keeping a list of it over the last few years, because there's so many coincidences or synchronicities that I have. And I looked over it the other day, and I have probably 30 pages over the last 2 years of just weird things. Even yesterday, we were interviewing a wrestler, like a professional wrestler, and he mentioned the wrestler John Cena. And he mentioned like, oh, I wrestled with John Cena's brother. He's from the area. When I went home, I was on Reddit, and I was scrolling through, and one of the comments mentioned John Cena's brother. And that is so obscure, such an obscure thing. And this happens to me so frequently now that it's like nauseating or dizzying, and it's tough to kind of stay in reality in a way, because like, this is weird. My reality is becoming so much more dreamlike, and that's happening for my mom too.
Yeah. How do you feel about, or what are your thoughts on that? The idea of imagination or just dreams can become reality. Because like he said, I've had dreams of random people in my life that I haven't seen in years, and then a couple of days later I'll bump into that person. Like, I can't be the only one that this is happening to. But how do you feel about that?
No, you are. No, I completely agree. I mean, I think that everybody is at some level getting more like multisensory. Like they're not just using their five senses again. But I will tell you, and I'm going to answer that, Anthony, but what you were saying, Steve, is I think it's so important because the majority of people don't get what you just said. The majority of people using that experience with the wrestler would just see it and just think nothing of it and not understand that that's part of someone in your circle, maybe someone in a friend circle, someone in spirit who's saying, Steve connects very easily. So let me show him these things. They're not coincidences. They're not mistakes. I love that. And the fact that you're documenting, you'd make a great student of mine, just saying, because I always tell people when they're getting these things to write them down, to create a log.
Well, I didn't write them down at first, but they became so frequent and so ridiculous. Like, I'll give you another example. I was on Snapchat and clicked on someone's Snapchat story. Someone who like, I never really watched, just like, you're laying around just like clicking on things. And then I click on his story. He lives in Florida. He's like driving around. I clicked like the third one. His hat on it says D'Amico's Trucking. Has our last name on it. Just stuff like that you can't just dismiss it and be like, well, a lot of people have that hat or like whatever it is. It's not random to me. I know it's all the big picture. It's one just field of consciousness that's manifesting in all these different ways. I know that's what it is. But up until the last few years, I really wasn't experiencing it in a way where, as like I listen, Bashar, I listen to him a lot. And he talks about like riding the wave, and I feel like now it's starting to ride where just everything is a synchronicity that's coming up, and it's very empowering and it's very exciting. But in a way, it also makes me feel like the more connected I get, the more disconnected I feel from like the state of the world in a lot of ways, not from talking to people one-on-one, but just like the state of the media and what the culture focuses on and like the consciousness of the culture. And sometimes it makes me feel like I'm a bit disconnected from that because it's like, well, why isn't other people having these experiences? Or I don't want to be looked at as crazy. I remember when I first like started learning about these concepts, I had a job that I really didn't like right when I graduated college, and I had some kind of a ego death or like expansion of consciousness because I was like just so unhappy there. I remember after I started like learning those things, I was like so excited to just like talk about it all the time, but I didn't realize that only some people were going to be susceptible to like understanding what I was saying. And it was such like a mind fuck for me that like I wanted to like go talk to people. I remember being at a party like, physical reality is not actually solid, and everyone's like, fuck away from me.
Yeah, right. We're still in college, Steve.
I thought you drank too much of the water in LA.
Yeah.
Steven, what are some of the other things you have your students do besides write down just experiences or thoughts they have? Like, what goes on in your class briefly?
Well, I mean, they once we get to like maybe the intermediate class or so, I actually have the students go into sort of groups via Zoom, and they actually do exercises. One person will just start thinking, like give 5 to 10 minutes, one person would think, and the other person will just have a pad and paper and start just jotting stuff down and picking up what the person's thinking. Then they'll swap. Or something like what you just asked, Anthony, a couple of minutes ago about what do I think about, say, dreams and how you dream of someone and then the person shows up. That is something that I teach in the course about energy. That just really means in a very simple way that if that happened to you, that means that you actually picked up that person's energy, and that person's energy somewhere in their realm was, I'm going to reach out to Anthony at some point. So you grabbed it, and that's why you had a dream. It wasn't really a dream. It was actually a visit or a validation.
Right, because we say dreams and reality. Well, what's the difference really, right?
Well, the dreaming state, a lot of times it's your template level of reality. So you're going into the template of your waking physical reality. And if you're having this connection and this knowledge in the dream, it's almost like you've gone into like the architecture of your reality for like the waking state. I think that could be one possible explanation. But yeah, that happens a lot where people are like, I just saw that person, and then they called precognition.
Happens all the time. It does. But the one thing I have learned from spirit is the more you validate the signs, the more signs you get.
So yeah, are you picking up on anything just from being
we're there already? All right.
I can't tell if it's in my head, but my chest has just felt so heavy this whole time. I've just been
well, before we do that, let me just tell everybody that I am on a TV show on Amazon Prime.
Yes,
just saying.
And there's a few documentaries.
Yeah,
as well.
Dark Echoes, which is on. You should check it out though. The episode is really fun. So yes, answering your question, yes, there's always spirit here. So I'm just asking them where I'm starting. I know that you two are brothers, so I am sure that there's going to be some that come through for both of you that may just say hi. There's a guy here. I think this is for you. There's a guy who is very, very emotional. He died young. When they come through as young, it just he's Steve. He's so he's doing this. I don't even know if he knows you too, but I love him. He's very sweet. But he just said, this will not come as a surprise to Steve that I'm here, because he knows I'm here. We talk all the time, whether consciously you know this or not. He's like your, I hate this phrase, but it's the only phrase I can come up with. Sort of like your twin flame on so many different levels, Steve. Like brother, like intimate, like there's so many levels of this guy. And he drove with us in the car, by the way, when we were here, because I could tell he was in the back seat. And he went fast or unexpected. He died fast because he said, Steven, I was here and then I'm there. He said, but one of the he's got the best sense. He just said, I'm funnier than him.
Wow.
I'm funnier than him. And
Wow.
He's got the best sense of humor, but he just said one of the most amazing things he gets to see in spirit is to see from a different perspective what you've done, where you came from, and where you are now. He says, I couldn't see that here in the physical world. He said, Steven, the fact that this guy is sitting next to you, is doing this, and is successful based on some of the things that hit him is remarkable. That who he is sitting here. He just said, you're one of the strongest people. Did you get a tattoo?
I did.
But this was, he's talking about it. Did you get a tattoo in memory of somebody?
No, but he had one.
Oh, so it's him then. Got it. There's a couple of things he's saying. Smith, Steven, there's an S connection to him. Either him or his middle name, last name, or something. Who's Frank or Fred? Who's one of you has living or crossed? There's a Philip. I think this is still him though. So let me just go with this. Birthday or an anniversary, you've got something close. This you, brother, sister, mother, father. What's 2 weeks back, 2 weeks forward?
His birthday was 3 weeks ago.
The one we're talking about.
Yeah.
I love how you chime in. I love that.
Because I know who you're talking to.
Perfect. So his birthday was 3 weeks ago. So he's just validating that. It's usually no more than 3 weeks. It's usually like 2 weeks. And he's really funny. He said, turn this way. Go ahead. Now just keep talking to him because this one's getting nothing. I love him.
Anthony, I think you're thinking of someone else.
Wait a minute. Did you not get a tattoo or thought about getting a tattoo?
I got one removed. I got one and then I got it removed.
That's what he's talking about then.
And
Because it was something that was there or was supposed to be there and then wasn't there. So I thought it was the opposite, but you had it and removed it.
Right.
So
and I think the last time I saw him, it might have still been like, you have to get the sessions like 6 weeks in between, and you have to get I got like 15 of them done. So the last time I saw this person I think you're communicating with, I might have just gotten a treatment done.
There was a very different connection between the two of you. Like a connection that feels like even if you didn't speak for a little bit, it was just picked right up, or you felt each other even when he was here. And he also keeps saying, thank you, Steve. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the times, I guess maybe you connected with him, that you didn't judge him. You didn't make him feel like he was not as a respected sort of person. He said Steve has a very he's yelling at you that you're not getting the S. I'm asking him to give me more. No, the cat. what's the cat?
Frankie.
The cat.
His cat's name is Frankie.
He had a.
That's the Frank. I thought you just said. Oh my God, that's the cat.
He had a cat in Los Angeles named Frankie.
Yes.
And then this person had a cat too, Betty.
No, but I just said who's Fred or Frank?
Our cats were siblings. We're brother and sister.
They were?
Yeah.
Oh my!
We got them at the same time.
That's what
I didn't know that.
That's what he's giving as a validation. Steve, I know coming in, I said, I watched some of the shows. I'm like, you're funny. As we walked in, he just keeps saying, I'm way funnier too, and I'm way better looking too. Just saying, he's got the best sense of humor. And said, don't. I have a message for Steve. Don't think that it was cut short here, because it will resume in spirit. It will pick right up when you get there. Whatever you feel was cut short, whether it's whatever the relationship is, he just keeps saying, he just said he's like you. He's like your ride or die. He's with you all the time. And he also said, in your creativity, he's so part of it. It feels like what he's talking about is Frankie the cat dead?
Yeah,
because he's with. I can hear a cat in spirit, so that's why I'm asking. But he just keeps saying that he loves being on your, like, he's a cheerleader for you with what's going on, and he's very blatant too. He just looked at you and said, "Ask this fool what's holding you up." There's stuff here you got to get done. There's stuff here that you got to move forward with. What the hell's the problem? Like, what's holding you up? And he's with you.
This is exactly how he spoke too.
Yeah, and that's how because he's standing next to you speaking. But he's saying that there's can I say shit on here?
Yeah.
He just said, cut the shit. You have a lot going in your like. You haven't even touched what you're supposed to do here.
I know, because we met doing stand-up comedy together in LA. So I think that's what he's referring to, is why haven't I gone further with that yet?
But Steve, I'll tell you, when you just said that, he just put his arms like opened and said, it's not just solely that, it's everything. You are here for that. You're here for the arts. You're here to keep moving forward with this. But he's very, very proud of you, like really, really proud of you, because he said, Steve has done a 160. 180 rather. When I said 160, there's a 16 connected to someone here. When spirit changes what I'm saying, the 16th of a month, there's a 16 connected to one of you guys. I don't know what that is, but it's a birthday, an anniversary.
One of us?
Yes. 16. Pick a month, any month, there's a 16. Could be apartment number. It could be split January 6th or June 1st, but there's something here. Spirit just makes me say things and I don't even realize it. So I meant to say a 180, not a 160. I mean, I am an attorney. I'm not that dumb. Right?
I was like, let me get my protractor. Steve's done a 160.
So we're on the same page. I think you and I have two different ideas of who's passing.
Yeah,
through
this
right
is
now.
Drew.
That's what
100%.
You weren't supposed to tell me his name, but that's all right, Steve. I kept asking him to tell me his name. Twins or two? He keeps talking about when you just said Drew. Was there like were there two of, like, do you have one sibling or two siblings? He just said two when you said that. Did you guys look alike?
Is it the two cats?
No, you already told me the cat, so I know that. There's something with someone's talking about twins. Twins here. Someone in a family, someone connected to twins. So maybe it's over here that I will get to. Getting back to, now that I know his name is Drew, he just said that you have completely changed. You're not the same person you were even just a couple of years ago. I already said he's funny. because he just honestly just said to me, keep going and going and going with Steve and see how aggravated these two get that you're not turning to get them. So I love this guy. I love Drew.
This is his exact personality.
Yeah,
is
but I
these
mean,
types of
and
things.
he's still here. But he just said there was an accident. He's talking about an accident. Were you connected, Steve, to some car or motorcycle accident years ago? There's an accident that he keeps telling me that was supposed to be way worse than it was, and there was like intervention from spirit. So somehow connected to you, family. I can hear the brakes or the skid mark. I can hear them, the car braking. There's something there. So there's nothing you remember with an accident. Just keep it with you if you don't, because Emily and Anthony are here. I could be picking that up too. But there's something that someone was saved from an accident, and it's a long time ago. You don't remember your parents. Maybe I should ask Anthony. Your parents talking about them or their parents, your grandparents, some kind of car accident. Why do I keep feeling like I'm being pulled to this? So again, if not, just make sure you keep it with you, because if they're bringing it up, there's a reason why they're bringing it up.
Pulled to a car accident or some type of disaster? Or?
It was supposed to be, Anthony, a disaster, but the person was sort of saved, like or the people in the car or something were.
I remember I had a situation when I was driving in Hollywood, and there was a homeless guy laying in the road, and I moved my tire, and it was like this far away from his head. I don't know if that's it.
Absolutely could be it, and how the intervention was actually saving, that guy, but also more so saving you too, because imagine what you would have done or felt or experienced if that happened.
Yeah.
But it was something that was very, very close. And it's something I was going to say that the person knew the seriousness, but it didn't happen. So maybe that's most likely probably it. Where's the Rose come in? Rose. The Rose is Rose?
We have a woman named Rose in our family who passed years ago, but are you seeing an actual Rose or just seeing the name Rose?
No, she just said, why am I being discounted? He's going right to a flower. It's me. Who's Rose connected?
She was my grandmother's aunt. She was an older lady, but
she was your grandmother's
aunt. She was my great aunt.
Yeah. So was she? Yeah. Listen, Anthony.
If that's who I'm
don't play with her. She's very excited that she's here and that you just validated her. So it's interest.
What's Rose have to say? Anything good?
I love that, how she wants just to get that validation that she's here. When I was talking to you about the two, there's two others that are dead. Did you say his name was Drew?
Mm-hmm.
It's two others
that are here now.
Two that are in spirit. But it feels like it's kids. It feels like I keep picking up that someone had two miscarriages connected to you guys. Mom, dad, sister, brother. Someone had one and two miscarriages in between having kids. I don't know where that falls, but just make sure you keep that with you. Emily, let me ask you something. 5. I keep getting 5 with you. 5. What's in May? Or the month of May? A birthday, an anniversary?
A lot of things in May.
So a lot of times, if there's a lot, and there was a John, George, Jim. There was a GJ name connected when Drew stepped forward. He kept talking about the G.
Joe.
Who's Joe?
We met it working at Joe's Pizza in LA.
Wow. I kept
We'd always be like impersonating. This is a guy like straight from Middle East, so we'd always be like, "Come on, buddy, what are you doing, buddy?"
Can you tell Drew to hold off for a second so I can just get here for? He won't stop. Just
no pressure.
Drew, let the others have a little bit.
The two kids is driving me crazy. They could be from, it's a family, but they could be from two siblings and 1, 2. But the babies are here. I can see the babies. They're here, and it is connected to one of you 3. There's something here. So,
Emily,
I can think of a baby that I'm like thinking of. that could be.
So sometimes getting back to you, Emily, there's in May, if there's a lot of birthdays or anniversaries, a lot of times they'll just pick that month because there are a lot of birthdays or anniversaries. Your great aunt Rose is just sitting there watching, just paying attention and observing. And she said, you're the troublemaker. Wait till we get here to him. You two are very similar, but yet also very opposite. Like the way you think, that there's a lot of differences. I mean, I know that's part of being brothers and stuff, but let me just get back to you. So Emily, grandmother, a grandmother is stepping forward and is screaming your name, screaming like you're the chosen one. Like she's just so excited that you're here.
Was hoping she would come.
Yeah, she's so she wherever you go, Emily, she is with you. She keeps talking. Who? She keeps saying, Chris, or Kim, or Kat, a C or K name connected to you. It's a really, really close connection that I keep hearing. Or just make sure you hang on to it. And M-R name, Mark, Mary. There's also an M, really close name. Remember, these people can either be living or crossed. So there could be.
She like is like a Mary. Or
No, she's giving that name, so someone is. If I don't know who it is. But she just backed up and said, "All right, let's go easy, honey. Let's go for an easy name." Ann. Who's Ann?
Ann's my middle name. My mom's middle name.
I love that. I love how she's going very personal with your name. Your grandmother is. Wait, you got two grandmothers in spirit? There's two, because there's another one coming through.
I wonder if it's my other grandma too. Well, Marta is my other grandma. And
I'm gonna need a glass of wine after you three. Just saying. Yeah,
and Mary or Molly is my other grandma. In Ireland, like everyone's name's Mary, but they like that's not their real. That's like their birth name, but no one calls them that. My grandma's Mary or Molly.
Those are both grandmothers?
So Marta was one of my grandma. Molly was more the name she went by. Mary or Molly was my other grandma.
So that's why they were giving the MR name, or the M sounding. So the C or K name, when you just said that, is the place where they lived. The street name or the town. Your grandmothers keep saying, one of the grandmothers keeps talking about. And where's the strong dad?
Campbell Avenue.
Yeah.
That's where my grandma lived.
Yeah, this is just whichever grandma gave that to you, she's separating her from the other grandmother. So just giving that. Your mother's mother is like just so present here, like just with you. And she keeps touching your hair, and she just keeps saying how beautiful, not just externally, but internally you are. And someone's having an issue with their foot. Their foot or their ankle, someone just recently broke something or sprained something. Emily, there's also an amputee. Someone lost a tip of a finger or a leg or something. Who's the amputee? Is there someone connected here?
I don't know anybody like that. I've known somebody that's passed that lost the tip of his finger, but I wouldn't call him an amputee.
I'm going to need 2 glasses of wine with you people. Yeah. So try not to take it literally. It's just whoever is stepping forward. I mean, that lost the tip of the finger is, you know.
How would you describe that person?
Give me
sure
a second, because Emily's grandmother's like, am I done? I'm like, no. Your grandma just pointed to that pillow and said, someone would make stuff like crochet or knitting. Who like some embroidery or something. There's something that someone has on their bed that is embroidered or something someone was passed down. Is that you?
This is made by our grandmother. We all have these on our beds. She's
maybe it's your grandma.
Oh, it is.
Constantly crocheting.
And I'm leaning right on it.
Constantly.
This is so wild.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a grandma?
Yeah.
That was our grandmother, would do that.
But she's in spirit though, right?
Yeah, and we all had them all on our bed. She would make like ones that we'd say which colors we wanted, whatever. The three, us and all of our cousins would all have them.
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, and I don't want to say discredit, but you brought up miscarriages in the name Mary and Rose. My grandmother, who did those blankets, she did have a miscarriage, and the daughter's name would have been Mary Rose.
Wow. Wow. So she knew the name. That's what she was going to.
That's what my aunts would tell me. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible, right? It's just
Yeah.
grandma just giving that as a validation. Emily, I love your grandmother too, because she's so sweet. Like, she's like, I know my granddaughter wants to get more, but she's letting their grandmother come through. She's just so nice and very, very sweet. When I was telling you about the foot or the leg or the ankle, this is definitely for you. And it's not a broken ankle or so. It is a tattoo or a scar. There's something down here, someone connected to you, very, very close. Someone either has a tattoo there, a small tattoo, or a scar or a birthmark, something like that. So just make sure you hang on to it. And Lynn, who's the L name for you? Emily, come on.
I know.
Your grandma's looking at you like the Linda or could be Eleanor, because I know that's an E, but it sounds like an L. There's a really, really strong Lori? Who's like a first or middle name Lori, either living or crossed?
I'm not sure.
Just keep it with you, because
Okay.
again, this could be for any of you, even though I think I'm here with you. And there's also an avid book reader connected here, someone who loves to read, and someone actually who, talking about my book, someone who is looking at writing a book or wants to write a book or wrote a book. There's nothing that you know.
I'm trying to think.
You know, when this is done, this is all going to come to you. It happens all the time when I do readings. It will all, your mind freezes up, and there's some attorney or legal aspect connected here. So someone is in court, an attorney, something here. Is this for you guys?
I am not in court right now.
No, but who's connected to the legal side of something, or an attorney
that has passed.
or living? Either one. Either. But there's an attorney. It feels like? It feels like custody. It feels like someone is years ago or some custody battle. So again, just make sure you hang on to that. Emily, is your dad still here?
Yes,
Living.
my dad's still here.
Another strong father energy, which probably means a grandfather who's also stepping forward and loves the name passed down.
Hold on a second. I don't want to interrupt. But Emily, what's Tyler's grandfather's first name? Isn't that an L? Isn't it like Leonard?
Oh, why am I blanking? I feel like I'm having just like brain farts all over the place right now. Oh my gosh.
It's a lot to take in, I'm sure.
Anthony, it happens all the time. Some people are very quick and get them. Like, you're very quick with it. And some people, their minds just freeze up. And, after I leave, I get emails. Oh my God, Steven, that was my mother's middle name. How would I not know that? It happens. It happens all the time. So
you were just asking me about grandfather. I'm trying to. I feel like something was connecting there.
Well, know that a grandfather was also, I think that's where I was leaving it, was stepping forward. But they keep showing me in juvenile court. So someone, they're giving some validation to either a DCF worker or a social worker. You do not have some kind of like therapist or social worker in your family that living or crossed that was? What's your grandmother behind you saying yes?
I don't know. I know.
Is it Katie?
I know that, like, because my parents are divorced and that was an issue. Like, I feel like I did go to like a child therapist who had an L name. That sounds familiar. But I don't know.
Listen, it's recorded, so you can go back to it and listen to it. But there's reasons why they're giving these as a validation. I keep also hearing Elizabeth. I don't know who Elizabeth is, but there's an Elizabeth connected here. First name, middle name. One of you three has an Elizabeth, either living or crossed.
We have a cousin who's a nurse named Elizabeth.
Sometimes, Steve, they just give things that are random validations because you have a cousin that's Elizabeth. It could be, where is this book coming from?
I've been wanting to write a book.
Oh, thank you, Steve. So someone keeps just opening a book, closing a book, opening a book, closing a book, meaning that like it's just that first step of doing it.
Yeah.
But this was resurrected. Like Have you had this for a long time?
Yeah.
Because it feels like what everyone in spirit's saying. Your grandmother just said, "Go back to him. She needs a minute to think."
I do
love
need a
this.
minute to think.
But going back to you, this book, they don't tell you what to do, Steve. But this book is if you ever do decide to do it, is a pretty amazing book. The way you're thinking of how to do it is pretty different and pretty amazing. Very, very, very different. So. Just keep that with you in sports. Well, why? What's the sports thing?
I grew up playing sports,
But I keep seeing like a number. I see like trophies.
like a jersey or
Yeah.
a trophy?
What's 12?
I'm not sure.
Keep it. Make sure you keep it with you, Anthony. There's a 12 number, so it could be like December. It could be the 12th of a month. It could be something like that. Oh no, this is on you. You said you have a girlfriend. This is on her side. She's got the 12. Ask her when you see her who's born on the 12th of a month. Something in. Oh my God, the car accident. Also, in addition to you, thankfully not running over that person, the car accident is her. It's connected to her.
So I live with my girlfriend, her mother, and her mother has had siblings that have passed on years ago, and one of them was in a car accident.
When I looked at you, I just saw your girlfriend's family stepping forward and saying, "The accident's here. The accident's here."
Yeah.
So your girlfriend's like aunt or uncle, whoever that may be, is also just making sure that you know that they're stepping forward. And I don't know, 12 could be 12 kids. I don't know, but there's a 12 connection
To their side.
Yes. So it could be something like that, but there's a very strong. Your girlfriend has a lot of her loved ones are very, very strong as they step forward. So,
Yeah.
And by the way, they very much like you.
They do.
Yes. The ones that the ones that haven't that you never even met are all sort of stepping forward, like right behind you, and just saying how much they do like you. You're guarded though. You're guarded.
I suppose.
And but when you're open up is when like all the light comes out. Like you could seriously, Anthony, you could charm like anybody if you let them in. You've got that sort of personality. That's coming from your girlfriend's loved ones that know you, that you didn't know, but they know everything about you. What's with the lock too? Did someone work with locks at some point, or is something going on with locks?
I ran an Airbnb house in Hollywood, and there's a lot of lock boxes and keys, locks. Do you have something else?
I also work with lockboxes too, but I don't know.
My
what
grandma.
Oh,
grandma.
The guy we interviewed last night is named Brandon Locke. Could that
That's
be
his
it?
last name?
Yeah.
That's
That would
weird.
be it. And what were you going to say?
My grandma, I take after her anxiety wise. She always was locking like every door, window. She's very.
That's a
obsessive
great,
with
all
locking.
validations for all of you. Spirit is that smart that they'll get something and hit something that hits you with the memory of your
Yeah.
grandmother, your client, or your I can't think of the
Guest.
Guest. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. From yesterday, it's all about that. You said you work with lock boxes, even though you're dismissing it, but that girlfriend side
Yeah.
is so much. What's here?
On me?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
like. I love Anthony. What do you mean? What?
My right arm?
No, there's a tattoo. There's something here.
I had surgery. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is.
Well,
I
Anthony, remember the tattoo?
I didn't get a tattoo.
You didn't, but
Oh.
someone we know.
But
Well, what about it?
Is he going to beat me up at the end of this? Just saying.
I didn't mean it like that.
No, I know. No, Anthony, honestly, when I just did, was it this arm that you had surgery or was the other one?
The one looking at it.
Just know that those random things are just your loved ones giving that, your loved ones, your girlfriend's loved ones, just watching you, just making sure they know that when that happened, you had like white light, you had healing and spirit and stuff. But you had two?
To what?
Why did they tell me when you said this procedure? Did you have another one somewhere?
No.
You only had one here?
Well, I have 3 scars here. I mean, I haven't had more than one procedure though.
but they had to do 3 scars.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It feels like if you didn't have a second procedure, that once they were in there, they found something that they had to do, or something like that. There's something. It almost feels like why I got 2 is like once they got in there, what they thought they were doing, they were going to do, but then they had to revisit it or change it or something.
This was maybe I was a kid. I hurt my shoulder with sports, so.
So just again, I think it's more just about letting you know that they're your loved ones are around and with you. You talked about you also deal with lockbox
Every day.
There's windows too, like there's something a window. Someone worked with windows or cracked. Someone's talking about a cracked windshield or window. Something that they keep saying about.
A cracked window, cracked windshield, huh?
Do you deal with houses?
Commercial property.
You didn't just recently see something that was cracked?
I remember just talking about this with my mom yesterday. We had a crack window in the house that I was living in LA that Drew also lived in at some point.
It's all just sort of
synchronicities.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, it's just like I'm trying to keep each person separate, but they don't listen to me. They just chat and just talk. And
she's not dead, but my sister did. Her toe got cut off by a recliner and put back together. That's the only thing I could think of as far as like limbs could
thank
go.
you, Emily.
It got like severed.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. My sister's alive, but
living crossed, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
It doesn't. They validate people living or crossed. Again, it's just one of those things that when they started with the toe and something was broke or something like that. If you're not getting it, they'll just stick with the foot or toe and then bring a second validation, like also there's a scar or a tattoo or a birthmark. So just know that when they're just bringing that up, that happened to your sister. So
do you have people that will come through?
Wait, I'm not done with you yet.
Oh, okay.
Ring. The ring.
What about it?
There's a ring. Everybody is applauding. I can hear everybody sort of clapping.
He's wearing a cock ring. I told him not to, but
that would be a first for me if Spirit validated that, right? That may be enough for me to give it up. Just saying.
They're all applauding. They love it.
Who's everyone? The people sitting behind me?
Yeah, well, I mean, all your loved ones, your girlfriend's loved ones, they're talking about what's in your brain in the ring. I'm just telling you. Just they know where you are. They hear your thoughts. They know exactly what you're thinking. And there's a clattering.
They're blowing up my spot is what they're doing.
What?
I was gonna say that.
Is that something in your head?
Maybe.
Well, just
and also you've inquired about it to family members too, right?
Yes.
Listen,
I know
they're not doing this to surprise or ruin surprises. They're doing it because they love you. That's what they're doing it. There is a green, either a clatter ring or emerald stone connected to you, one of you guys. I keep seeing the Emerald City, Wizard of Oz.
Green, huh?
Something green. Either a ring or a piece of jewelry that's passed down, someone had. No one knows what this green is.
I think my mom has an emerald ring from her mom.
If that's the case, Emily, it's just a beautiful way that your grandmother's giving that. If it is there's a green stone in it. That's what I keep hearing. So just,
I'm almost positive my mom has a ring from my grandma that's an emerald ring.
That's a great fishing too. I don't know who fished. Living cross fishing.
Grandpa was a big fisher.
So he's just making sure you know that he's stepping forward and there's a dog or cat with the B name. And Bob. Who's Bob? Who's Bob connected? I think this is to you.
I have an Uncle Bob.
But he's here, right?
He's living.
Yes. Whoever side it is, they're just validating Uncle Bob. So Uncle Bob's a trip. Just saying too. Yeah. He's a character, Uncle Bob. I just heard. So it's just, again, grandma's giving that also as a validation.
That sounds like
I don't know if I keep talking to your brother, is he going to take me outside?
No.
I'm just saying.
No.
Because all his,
We have a few other psychics buried out back.
No, not at all.
then you, with this girlfriend,
Yeah.
this is, I love your poker face.
I know, huh? Big tough guy.
This is different than anything. This
Yes, sir.
girlfriend, it is this. This is, she's pulled on these heartstrings that have never been pulled before, to the extent of what you are living right now. She is like, it's almost like you're like when we talked about the ring. They're talking just about how detailed you're getting with whatever's going to happen. Very, very specific. And location wise is a biggie, because the location I keep hearing, this is all her side, and it's a grandmother who has got her hands on your shoulders and saying how much she loves you, and keep saying, go with it. Go with it. That is, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. It's a beautiful memory, and it is something that you got to go with your gut and stop doubting. Like, is this going to be good? Is this going to be good? Because you are very specific with your details.
This is true.
Very, very specific. And you go back and forth. It's going to be beautiful. I don't know if they're talking about eventually an engagement. I don't know what this is, but just,
I know what they're talking about.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Well, are you planning that?
It sounds like.
I'll post this episode after your trip, so it's not gonna ruin anything.
I'm going to Italy next month, and I have thought about proposing to my girlfriend in Italy next month.
Wow.
And I've been thinking about ring and location, and yeah.
That's all not from me. I'm just the messenger. It's all your loved ones, Anthony.
Yes.
It's all of that. And they just keep approving everything that you're thinking about and what you're doing. So it's a great thing. And it's everyone in spirit just keeps saying that for both of you, for both of them, they found their forever. Like they found it, and there was a point that Anthony did not think this was going to happen. He was not going to find this forever. It just was not going to happen for him. And so and you two came together spirit-wise. Spirit like sort of put you two together. And they're already showing me way ahead. Wedding done, like, and even life. It's pretty cool. It's very, very cool. I won't say anything anymore, but it's really cool.
Say whatever you like. Whatever you like to say.
Just saying.
Yeah.
They don't usually give me like a lot of future things, but there's a son. Yeah. I mean, I know you. Listen, if you have kids, it's 50-50, but there's a boy because the boy needs to be with you. The son needs to come. That's all I keep hearing.
The son's coming.
The son. The son, your son.
Just like the Beatles song. Right?
I don't. You listen. I'm way too young to know about the Beatles, Anthony. Just saying. But yeah, the son, as in SON,
right.
is yes. That in a name passed down. Just saying. It almost feels like it's Anthony, or there's something you're passing something down at some point. It means a lot to you, and it means a lot to your loved ones in spirit. It means so much.
Yeah, we actually talked about this last night, of perhaps giving somebody we know's middle name that has passed. So a name would definitely be passed down.
The reason why they're bringing that up is because you talked about it last night, and they want to validate that. Just like what Steve was talking about with the synchronicities, they just could not wait, for this to happen, for me to bring it up, to say, it's when you were having that conversation, all your loved ones and her loved ones were all around you listening, and just like really, really happy and very, very proud. So this is
great.
It's a beautiful.
It's very beautiful.
It is. It's you're in a really, really good place, a very, very sweet place.
I think you're right.
So yes. Yeah, I mean, even if you said no, I'd say yes, you are. You are. That's what your loved ones in spirit is saying, that you are in the best
and they know.
Place. They do. Of course they do. They're walking with you. They're with you. That's how this works. So they know every single thing that's in your head. Even when you haven't said something, they will bring it up, and you're like, I did not say this to anybody. But so there's also someone in spirit here that had the issue in the stomach, like pancreas or liver. Or
Oh,
like,
you know what? I'm thinking I am not missing my husband's family, but his grandpa passed away from pancreatic cancer. Their maiden name is Ledger. So
There
I'm
it
wondering
is.
that's also a name that I gave my daughter, her middle name. So now this is all making sense.
Yeah, so I told you
And
it
I
would.
wonder if it's him because in his
No wonder. I just heard, don't wonder anymore. It's me. It's me.
And-
And I think I actually even said the name passed down.
Yes, and his mama was in a major car accident and broke her femur and almost died, but she's fine.
Oh, wow.
So-
And Emily,
I didn't think it'd be Tyler's family coming. through.
I
That's why
thought-
I wasn't expecting.
Oh my God, you
that.
said Tyler. I just heard someone say Steve said Tyler because he was connecting.
And I
Yeah.
thought of Tyler's grandfather randomly, like a few days ago when I was driving,
Wow.
That's weird.
because of the generous stuff he's done for you guys. That just popped into my head.
It's all. This is all like a love fest of spirit, just giving that as a validation. And the great thing about what I was telling Anthony is that you, Emily, and you, Steve, the same thing applies. That I keep hearing 2024 is such. Do you have children?
Mhm.
Someone just like stopped everything and just like pointed. And do you have two?
Yes, too.
Because they just said talk about the two kids. Now, listen, let me preface this before I say this. It doesn't necessarily mean you, because I don't know where you are. There's a baby around you. There's a child, like really like close. Like I know this is weird because I'm a guy, but I can actually feel the baby is either already here or the baby's coming really, really close to you. So if it's say you've decided two's good and you're not having any more children, it's someone really, really close to you. I can feel where are we in March, right? Yeah, because the baby's born like in November or December. So someone's pregnant. Someone's either pregnant or getting like maybe they don't even know yet. So another, this is like Jerry Springer, right? With the surprises.
I know.
The engagement, the baby. Someone's going to come running out.
Me and my husband always argue because I want a third, and he said we're absolutely done. So who
Um,
knows? I don't think I'm pregnant though.
But is there any chance?
Let me just say that
Yeah.
I love
Daniel.
Emily. So Steve has to wait and not air this because of Anthony. So by the time I find out I was right, your kid will be in college at that point, right? I mean, seriously. But there's something really, really close. Really, I can actually feel like ovaries moving, like the baby is here, and I even see the sex of the baby. It's kind of cool. It's connected. Again, you or somebody very, very close to you. Because if you have siblings, maybe it's a sibling. It's something very, very close.
One of my good friends is due like any day now too. So that could...
To having a baby, you mean?
Yeah.
No, but this is the beginning stages. Like this really feels like someone doesn't know, or they just found out. What's the fireman too, or the fire? I see a Dalmatian running back and forth, which means there's something connected to a Dalmatian or a fireman, fire truck. No one living across had like a connection to fire or like a fire truck, or no one wanted to be a fireman or like is married. This is not a fire truck. It's a fire they're talking about. There's something with the fire, not a huge thing, but something catches on fire. So just make sure one of you keeps it with you. It's I don't know if it's in the backyard. It sort of feels like it's outside. Kids are playing around and something starts like lighting up, but it's put out. So it's a while ago. So just make sure one of you know. So based on what Emily has been getting, she'll probably get this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
a little delayed.
I'm trying to think if we ever set anything on fire.
And it could be like a neighbor. And lastly, someone had a very, very serious issue with water, almost drowned or did drown. I'm going under. I don't know if this is like tub,
You did?
like if there's ocean, there's something.
Maura's family, didn't someone drown in a puddle or a puddle of
Yeah.
water?
So my girlfriend's, her mother's side of the family, there were some freak accidents and illness in their family. suffered some loss in their day. Just like
And was there a drowning or something to do with water?
well, he was a kid, a little kid.
Right.
And I think he drowned in like a very small amount of water.
So just know that he's here. Just also stepping forward. It's just amazing how so many of your girlfriend's loved ones are stepping forward.
It's none of my family. It's all her family.
No, listen, your family's here. But you know what that is? Why that is, Anthony, honestly, is because they're so excited about you and their niece, granddaughter, great-granddaughter, everyone in spirit. That's why they're coming forward, is because they're so excited that you two are matched up. They love you. That's why they want to give that as a really, really good.
You really love me.
Validation. Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah. Yes. And by the way, too, there's a cartoon tattoo or something cartoonish, or an animal or something, or a cartoon tattoo. Because I keep seeing like Tweety or Sylvester or something.
Oh, Sylvester. That was my cat growing up.
Another cat? Are you that was the name?
Yeah.
That was the S name.
Oh my God, Sylvester. Yeah.
Oh, she was my.
Is she a good cat?
And she's here. I lost control of everybody. They're all coming through at the same time. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I don't know if I went too long.
No, it was amazing.
No,
No,
this is so
thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
I was curious too, because talking about like miscarriage and stuff like that too. I had a brother who died as a baby, so I was wondering if that maybe was the baby.
Absolutely, that because the when I get pulled into miscarriages or so, I sometimes don't know what generation it is. Is it your generation? Is it like your mother's and father's generation? So it would be your brother.
He died in May, so that could have been it too. Talking about May.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, when you go back to this, it will all make sense. You know, it will all tie in. Just how you figured out, you know, your husband's side and you know, the grandfather and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. You know, but there were two though, so that could be one of them. But
our mother had a miscarriage too.
So it's probably just the two sort of, you know, stepping forward and you're just letting you know that they're here. So.
She was also in a teen pregnancy pageant called Miscarriage 1982.
Oh, please.
she got runner-up.
But thank you for letting me do that.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank
No,
you.
thank you.
That was incredible and very, very emotional. How
Yeah.
strongly Drew came through, and the things you were hitting on, they were just so specific. His affect and the way he speaks and everything. I could feel his energy.
He doesn't feel like he's gone. He's here. Every day he's with you, just like all of you guys. And you know,
and it was so abrupt. It was like here today, gone tomorrow type of thing.
Yeah.
So it did feel like it was cut short, but I'm glad he's saying that it's not that, and he's continuing to live on in his way.
Yeah. And he's better than you. That's all he can do. So
I know he thinks that. He can steal my jokes and Evan.
Would he do that?
I know he can help you with jokes. That's what he can do. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. He would.
Yeah. No, he's a good guy. But
I feel bad because I know it's been draining for you too, but I feel like my grandmas have been very passive to everyone else. Like any other things coming through.
It's honestly, Emily, this is a case that you just need to go back and watch this, because there's things that I know are there that you haven't got yet. You know, it's your grandmother's. I mean, one of the grandmothers always sitting on your bed when you go to sleep. When you go to bed, she's there. When you wake up, she's there. So that's something that make sure you're aware of, that if you on your bed, like if something's placed like if you make the bed and you place things in a certain way, and like in the afternoon you come in and no one's been in the bedroom, but the pillow is moved, it's just your grandmother just letting you know she's there, or there's an imprint, or the blanket's moved, something like that. That's how it works. You know, that's exactly how it works. So.
How do you feel about animals when it comes to connecting with people? Because it's not a dumb question, but like sometimes I'll see my cats or my dog or anything like giving attention to what looks like to be nothing, right? Whether it's barking or like charging at something that's not there. Do you think they have the ability to tap into anything?
Oh, they're even more so than humans.
Yeah.
They don't have the filter, so they're coming from like this clean slate that they can. You know, that's why generally we just lost one of our babies, one of our dogs, and the dog that we have left, he's adjusted very quickly because he can see him, and he's not like sort of separating that he's not physically here anymore, because he's here spirit wise, and because there's no filters, he feels like, oh, he's still here. So yeah, so that's a great question, Anthony. And they're all animals, not just dogs or cats, horses, rabbits, any animal is just very, very sensitive and very well aware.
Yeah, and cats supposedly can peer into other dimensions, and that's why they were so revered in ancient Egypt, and because they're interdimensional
Yes.
creatures, they had a strong connection peering through into the other realities.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I have this book right here, The Suicide Gift. Do you want to just talk a little bit about the process of writing this?
It just takes me from the journey from being 8 years old after my dad took his life, and again the difference between the pre-8 and then the post-8, and all the stories, and based on how I felt and just being very angry and pretty much hated myself, how my life was. And I was rebelling against everything and doing things that were outrageous. And I knew at some point, I think I was going to write this book, because it was sort of like a nod to my dad. And the cover is me with my dad, and I don't have a lot of pictures, so they cropped it to just make sure it was me and him. And I was trying to get the best title, and usually you don't hear suicide and gift being together. And the whole point of this book is that based on the suicide and what it's sort of the road it made me go down, ultimately, when I started processing this and my dad started helping me in spirit, I realized my gift of being a medium. So that's why it's called The Suicide Gift. That's the sort of the explanation. But it's an easy read. I think it's a funny read. I think it's a read that you'll cry. Also, I think it's a great. I know it's my book, but I think it's a great book.
The book's called The Suicide Gift. Steven the Medium, where can people find you on social media?
Steven the Medium, all over the place. My website and all of social media, and that's where I have events coming up. You can go right to my website and take a look at where I'm going to be, and you can also just book appointments too via Zoom too. If you're, I have clients from Europe, just all over the world too, that are not physically near me, which is great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming by. This was really amazing and
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
invigorating. This has been the D'Amico Show. Catch you guys next time.